welcome to another episode of the podcast Profits Unleashed podcast, the show where we empower coaches and experts to use podcasting as a powerful tool to drive sales and grow your business. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and today we have Richard Walsh, and we're going to be talking about escaping the owner prison. So he is the CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. He's a 30-year seasoned entrepreneur. He's a best-selling author of Escape the Owner Prison, a speaker and a podcast host. He's a husband and father of 6, a US Marine, champion boxer, black belt, and an internationally recognized steel sculptor. I'm sure he can share that with us. So welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you, Karen. It's great to be here.
So let's just start off with the book. What was the inspiration behind it?
20 years of failure. That was the inspiration. but in a positive way. Yeah, after I had my first business for 20 years, it collapsed, all that. We'll get into that later maybe. But the book, as I started helping other entrepreneurs and I rescaled businesses myself, did it right because I always get things right the second time. I did it right the second time. And then people started asking me, how do I do it? I started helping them, mentoring, and I started coaching a little bit. I'm like, I should put this in a book. So I wove my story of the whole journey and with the how-tos, fundamentals, things like that people should do, but they don't do. Everyone knows, but they don't do. We really showed them how to scale their business, build it, grow it to scale. Did 3 different phases, 0 to a million, million to 5 million, 5 million to 10 million, what that looks like, what you need to have in place. But made it fun, again, weaving the story in there so that I had some great, we'll call them client experiences, right? I'm air quoting those, right? Our favorites, the ones we like to laugh about in private with our friends. So I shared all those, and it was a really good time. Wrote the book, very helpful, became a bestseller. And I built an academy around it, and through a couple iterations, it ended up being eventually Sharpen the Spear Coaching. And here we are.
Brilliant. And everybody who is successful has had some kind of a failure. Yeah. And so many people, it's like they forget that, or because they just see the end result and they don't realize what that person has actually gone through to get there. So at least you learn from your mistakes. And that's a great message to people out there because so many give up. You can't fail unless you give up, right?
I think it's really important that you're going to fail. Like, I haven't met anyone who hasn't with any degree of success because no one knows how to do this. No college degree is going to teach you how to do it. 100% guarantee you that. Okay. MBA, add 9 other initials after your name. It's not going to help you. It's all about being in the trench. It's all about doing it, applying it, trying to make something work for your particular service, product, whatever it is. But they're all opportunities. Every failure is an opportunity. It's a growing place, but it's an opportunity to do things better, to fix it once and for all. So I'm into failing early. Kind of get it out of the way, fix things, because every problem's an opportunity if you approach it properly. So the more we get, the more we can do and the better we can serve people.
Oh my goodness. And like you just said, everything is evolving. And I suppose the trouble is that when people start a new business or they've retrained in something, that is exactly the problem. They can get the qualification of whatever it is, the mindset coach, the business, whatever it is, they've done their studies to be able to do it, but they don't seem to teach them how to then get clients and how to actually build a business. So actually, unless you're coaching people, you're not really a coach. Just because you've got that qualification, it doesn't mean anything unless you're getting out there and doing the thing. And do you think that's what's missing then? Is that people aren't having, and I suppose the problem is there's so many different ways to do it and so many different people out there on social media saying this way, that people get overwhelmed.
Yeah, for sure. I think time in the game is important. Okay. Now, maybe you weren't the best player. There's great coaches that I don't know if I can say they never played the game, but they weren't like professional athletes. Let's say they didn't get to let's say as a football player, didn't get to the NFL as a player. but they did really good in college and whatever, what they weren't drafted. But their gifting is in coaching, right? So
Mm.
they understand the game very well, but they actually can coach better than they could ever play, right? Now, I went through 20 years in business, did really well financially, screwed up a bunch of other important things, lost everything, started over, fixed all that, still in business, and I'm coaching. But then you turn your business into a coaching business plus a business. So just like you, but we're taking people with knowledge, time in the game, and the game for us is business. We've done things. I've been playing with business since 1980 something. 88, 89, so like the Marine Corps, right? So I have all kinds of things that started and didn't get finished all the way or failed, but I just pivoted because I knew where I wanted to
Mm.
go with it. Was that I hate to use this word, the lifestyle of entrepreneurship. That can be a positive or a negative, depending on where you're at in your journey, right?
Yes.
But I knew that's where I wanted to go. I wanted that kind of control, that kind of freedom, and limitless. I wanted my future to be limitless. And that's what entrepreneurship truly gives you, is a limitless future. You get to choose the limit, really, but you don't have one per se.
Yeah, and a lot of people though, when they start out, it's almost, and I've done this in the past with previous businesses. What I found is that actually all I've done is purchased a full-time job and some, because I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm doing sort of everything, wearing all the different hats. And do you think that when people start out, they come away from this? If you've got a company, you own a company, you've got an HR department, you've got a marketing department, you've got all these different pieces of the puzzle. And when you're an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, they believe that they've got to do everything. But the only way you're going to scale is if you're going to act like a company and to be the CEO of your company and delegate the different tasks out. Otherwise, there's only so many hours in a day, isn't there?
And I think what they don't understand, I'm not a Fortune 500 company. I don't have 87 employees. And if you have 2 employees, one, you can give them stuff to do, right? But you also can plan, where do I need to go to have enough people? And again, depending on your business and your offering, it could be 3 or 5 people. And you could do $1 million a year, $2, $3 million a year, because you've built the systems to work, and that's all you really need, right? It all depends. Other businesses need 25 people. I need 45 people in the shop manufacturing things. Okay, so yeah, but you still have to grow and delegate all that. You can't go out there and work every machine. It's the same principle. You have to understand. Well, I call it our 5%. So there's 5% of the business only you can do as the owner, only you. Vision, right? Reeling in big clients, right? Understanding the marketplace, where things are going. You need time with that. So the goal is to get you doing that. Not saying you're going to go sit on the beach somewhere, but 5% of the business focus on that. That'll take you from 70, 80 hours a week to about 15 or 20. Okay. And you're working, you're the high view person now. You get to see the whole chessboard, not just a couple of pieces. So I think until they get the mindset of this is where I need to go, I get it when you start, you're excited and you're really good at what you do. You're a craftsman, you're a technician, whatever it is, and you start doing it, but eventually you have to stop doing it. The reality is you don't get to do it. Okay, you can go dabble with it, come out and play. Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember how fun that was for a little while. You have to really think about that. Like you really have to, I call it putting down the hammer or the saw or whatever tool you use, your pen, putting that down, letting other people pick it up and use it, and
Right.
actually use it better than I did.
Ah, there you go. So escape the owner prison. So in order for entrepreneurs to do this, you must have a sort of specific process to help them get this end result. So what is that? Would you like to share with the listeners a little bit about how you work?
Yeah, it's 2 words. I like things really simple. It's called exit strategy.
Ooh.
That's what you begin with, everybody. Exit strategy, not entrance strategy, okay? Everyone wants to do entrance strategy and get things going, and here's why. I'll explain it real quick. Go out to the end, okay? So you're going to start this business. Let's say you're actually lucky and you haven't really launched yet, which is a great place to be if you know the right people. Okay, it's going to help you. You're going to learn stuff like this. How long are you going to do this? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, rest of your life till you check out, whatever it is, pick that number. Now say, okay, and how much would I like for my business when I exit? Someone to pay me, right? 5 million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion, whatever it is, whatever your number is, whatever your business is going to be, what is that number? Okay. Okay, great. Now we're going to start to reverse engineer, or as I like to say, extrapolate backwards. All right. So we go backwards. How do I get there now? Now, if you know where you're going, we can lay out the plan to how we get there. So now I go, okay, it's me. We just talked about help. Now when you need your first employee. Now when you need your second one and your third one and your fifth one and your 10th one or whatever that is and where you're going. So now I'm very focused on the exit. So everything I'm building is to get me close to my exit. Right. So the other thing is, as you're doing that, you're paying yourself. Please pay yourself. Please don't not pay yourself. Okay, so many entrepreneurs do. They're last to get paid. Don't do that. Pay yourself first. You're the highest valued employee there. So let's say you're making some really good money. Now you're climbing. You're starting to bring in that high gross revenue. You're making some real profit. Now you're up to a 7-figure income salary. Like I'm taking home $1 million a year. Okay, great. Now, if I get to the 10-year mark where I said I was going to sell and I want to sell for $20 million, great. The guy comes in, they negotiate. I get the 20 million. I shake his hand. He gives me the check. I shake his hand. I leave. They're in. No one really knows the business sold because they run so well. But what did I just lose? I just lost $1 million a year because I walked away. So yeah, I got 20, but I just lost $1 million a year. And that's so. How do I, as I go along, we reverse engineer right on the exit strategy? Well, if I know I'm going to make 7 figures and I'm going to lose 7 figures when I leave, what do? Oh, I start acquiring assets that produce income, right? So if it's rental properties or investments or whatever it is, I start to build income with my active business income, which is that 7 figures. You don't have to live on all that. Make that, I need $83,000 a month by the time I get to the 10-year point, coming in passively. If I can do that, now I get my 20 million. I have $1 million coming in every year. I get to walk away. And if I never work again, I got $1 million a year plus a 20 million bank. So it's pretty nice. And if you're at the beginning, you can really do that. If you're near the end, maybe not so much.
Yeah. That's certainly something that I never even entered my head. And I'm not going to presume, but I think a lot of people, they're not thinking like that. They're just thinking about starting the business and getting it to, they'll set their goals. You have your goals of where, but they're not setting it up with the end in mind, that exit strategy. And I've heard it a couple of times over the last sort of few months. And that's where the magic is, because what did I hear? The sort of number recently that you needed something like 900 grand savings just to get a 3 grand a month income. It's crazy. People, if you're not reinvesting into some kind of asset that's going to give you some kind of passive income, there's nothing out there. And I know, I'm pretty sure that in the States it's similar to it is in the UK. Man, forget pension, forget it. You ain't getting nothing by the time you get there. So if you're in business, if you haven't got a plan like this, maybe it's time to start. So why do you think people don't, when they are going into entrepreneurship and they are starting a business, why do you think they're not setting it up with the end in mind?
I really think it's because they have no idea what they're doing. And this in a positive way. You have a skill or a product or service, and you're just going to do it. You're going to get paid for it. You're going to go out and do it. But now you started doing the thing that you do. And then slowly you realize you got to learn what business is. Now you have to learn all this business stuff, and you start maybe getting the wrong advice, and you're focusing on the wrong things that you could easily hire out. But now you're letting it obsess you, like accounting, payables, other things like that, insurance, all this kind of stuff. You start getting into all that, trying to manage all that. And that is not why you got in business. No one gets in business for that. But now you're going to burden yourself with all of this on top of performing the actual work. And what I always tell people, that first 2 years is very difficult, right? We're going to wear all the hats. We're going to do all this stuff. But next a blink of an eye, and 10 years has gone by, you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times. You are on the hamster wheel of entrepreneurship, and it's not a good place. So that's why they can't look at it. They're not thinking about the end. They're thinking about next Friday. I got to make payroll. I got 4 people. I got to do this. I got to pay my own bills. I got to do all this. When do you have time to sit back? Well, let me see about all the assets I'm going to accumulate. How am I going to build $83,000 passive income when like people are breathing down your neck and clients are calling and everything's a hot mess in your business? You're not thinking about the exit. You're literally a week ahead in thought. That's it. It's hard.
There'd be the trouble. They're stuck within the day-to-day runnings of their business and they can't see the big picture. Whereas if you set that up from the get-go, it's obviously going to be a lot easier. And I suppose, it makes sense. It's the only way to go. What do you want to do? How long do you want to do it? Are you going to keep going? No, I'm not getting any younger. So
right. My kids are going to do it. My kids are going to take over. No, they're not.
No.
They don't want your business. They're watching you like try to get to Friday. Like they don't want that life. They never get to see you as it is. They're not going to do that to their kids. So yeah, you're exactly right, Karen. So we always want to also think about this with that exit strategy. Here's another bonus of doing it from the beginning. It is your ultimate business filter. Whenever opportunity comes to you, because when you start doing well, opportunity is going to come. People are going to offer you things. Hey, do this to make this money. This is really easy. You can do this. Okay, that's great. Let me run it through. Does it get me closer to my exit or does it detract from it? If it detracts from it, it's a hard no. If it gets me closer, I'll add that spoke to my wheel. Right? Now I can, another stream of income that gets me closer and faster to my exit strategy, I'm all in. But if it's something completely different, I'm not going to let it take me off track. So that becomes your target. Your exit strategy becomes the target that you run everything through. It keeps you very deliberate, very on point, and you're going to get there faster. And as you go through the journey, whether it's 10 years, your family knows where you're at on the journey. They understand the outcome because like you don't share with your family and you don't have an exit. And it's not easy and it's really hard and you're trying to make payroll every payday. What do you think your family feels? They just see you living in like chaos. They don't know. They can't help you. They can't cheerlead for you because they have no idea what your plan is. You've never shared it with them because you don't have one to share.
And I suppose maybe it's also when you're so caught up in the day-to-day runnings, I think a lot of people, they don't even look at certain opportunities that will work for their exit strategy because it's always when I've got this, I'll then look at it. But actually, if they looked at it now and looked at what they needed to do to get into that opportunity that's going to work for their passive income when they do exit, then they have a plan. Do you think that's part of it? They're not researching because they think they'll wait until they're there, this imaginary line that they've drawn in the sand. And so they actually don't know what they need to invest in something that's going to give them that passive income.
Yeah, it's one of the advantages of age. Okay, long time in the game. You get to get up to 10,000 feet and see the whole picture, see the whole chessboard, right? You understand, wow, if I would have done this back then, you know what that would do now? Like we all have those little regrets, right? But that is where you want to get, well, why can't I begin there? Why can't I actually, and this is going to seem weird, but schedule time to do that. Like once a month, twice a quarter, I go away for 3 days and I just vision cast. I look at things like you're saying, take some idea of, okay, let's see what this looks like actually. Uninterrupted, deep work, not talking to anyone from your business, just spending that time doing that and then saying, okay, great, lay it out. Next quarter, I'm going to see if I'm on track with this, right? So you can actually plan that kind of stuff out and really put it into your working business model as a responsibility as a president, founder, CEO, whatever you want to call yourself. You have to give yourself authority to do that. So if you know that thing actually exists and you have to do it, you can build it in.
Yeah, I suppose so many people, they might do that once a year in
Yeah,
January.
maybe. Yeah.
New Year's resolutions, even if they set them. But yeah, it just goes to show that the importance of it is taking it a bit of a step further. So mapping out. I don't think people have heard this, haven't they? They've heard it, but there's a difference between knowing something and actually doing it. And
Mhm.
I really doubt that many entrepreneurs are actually going into this on that level, but it makes so much sense. And I think even if you have a plan like that, it's going to be a lot easier for you to keep on track rather than, like you say, otherwise you're just caught on a hamster wheel and you're just getting through week in, week out. It's this feast famine mode. Whereas when you can have that aerial view of your business, even if the business is having its ups and downs, you can still see the
Mhm.
inclination. Doesn't matter how steep it is, as long as you're growing. But if you've got that bigger picture in mind, you've got the motivation behind you to just keep on. Love this. So, with what sort of investment opportunities would you suggest for people to even start thinking
So
about that would become of their exit strategy?
so here's the thing, and this is going to be super high level because everyone has what's called an investment DNA. They have
Mm,
things they like and they don't like, things they're drawn to, things they're not drawn to. So there isn't any one thing. I like tangible assets, things I can touch and feel, not things on
mm-hmm,
paper,
mm,
not on a stock board somewhere. Okay.
mm-hmm.
I like if I have 37 single family homes, they're
Yeah.
all valued at 275 to $500,000 a piece, and I need some cash, I can sell one. I still have 26 homes,
Yeah.
but I can pick up $250,000 or whatever. So I have a way to still manage things as things go because I have an abundance of assets that are real, that increase in value, or there's always someone to be renting a home. So I can work that. And I have a property management company that handles it, so I'm hands off. But I can grow that over time. And I can work that in my exit strategy. So how many homes do I need every year? If I'm going to do it
Mm,
only that way, which I wouldn't, but a huge part of that, okay, how many homes do I have to buy every year, every month? What do I have to do that? How do I make that plan work? So now you have a plan to accumulate. That's a great one, right? Yeah, there's all kinds of investments. There's other businesses. There's commercial
mm,
real estate. Love commercial
mm.
real estate because you get 10-year leases
Right.
and they have to fix everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You got
Okay.
you could do
Yeah.
all, yeah. There's so
All
that's
that stuff, right.
really,
Yeah, multi-unit stuff,
yeah,
and you can
that's the
and
way.
and as you continue to accumulate, like I said, if your numbers really get up where you're doing 7 figures a year, I guarantee you can live on 250,000 and drop 750,000 a year into acquiring assets. You're gonna get to that. You're gonna
Absolutely.
get those goals really fast. It'll be amazing.
Love this. Love
Yeah.
this. What should the listeners do next? I think their ears are pricked up. Mm. I need an exit strategy. Where should they go, Richard?
You mean to me?
Yeah, of course
Oh,
I
to me?
mean to
Okay.
you.
Of course, sometimes I'm not on the intelligent level, I'm just smart. There's a difference. They can go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Really simple. There's a contact page there. You can book a call. You can send me a message if you got questions. I love talking to people. I will always talk business. Tell me where you're at right now. We'll start fixing your problems. I'll show you the way that we do it. We have programs and things like that. But you really want to, we talk a lot about exit strategy this time. The best time to start is before you launch, right? Next best time is right now. That's your second
Mm,
best time to start your exit strategy. And I don't care where you're at in your business right now. If you don't have one, you need to start. And I think we explained it in pretty good detail on why.
it was brilliant. Thank you very much. And the book, where can I get the book?
You can always get it on Amazon, the book selling monopoly place. Uh, or because you're listening to Karen's show, you can go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com, go to the contact page, send me a 1-sentence email. It says, hey, Richard, heard you on Karen's show, would love a free copy of the audio version of Escape the Owner Prison, and I will send it to you.
Ah, awesome. Thank you very much. So, listeners, you heard that. Get in touch. Richard, always a pleasure to speak with you. It's that voice. It's that voice.
It's the voice.
It's that voice. Thank you for your time. And to the listeners, we'll be back next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to today's episode on the Podcast Profits Unleashed podcast. If you're a coach, consultant, therapist, or healer who would like to drive sales whilst having fun podcasting, head over to podcastprofitsunleashed.com/free and find out how you can turn your podcast into a sales machine. We'll see you on the next episode.